The following program, paid for by Right Path Real Estate, does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the staff, management, or ownership of this station.
But it should.
Time to get on the right path with Right Path Real Estate.
So today's the day we break all the rules, right?
That's right. We drop all the F-bombs.
Get
your finger on that button.
That's right. We finally tell the truth. Rick's like, oh, Lord, here it comes.
Get ready. The guy that will put your fears behind you is on the air now.
Okay, your mic's on.
713-785-1817. Toll free 877-881-0271. Now here's your host, Tom Perry.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I don't know what show number this is because we haven't really been counting them, but I can tell you that, there's always a first.
And there's always a last.
There's always a last. So this is our last show on...
Show number end.
Show number last on AM 1110. Now, that does not mean that it is the end of the show. We will be right back on Monday. Not on AM 1110, but we will be on Facebook. We'll be on Instagram. We'll be on... I think we're working it out to where we can also be live on the YouTube.
We want to get live on YouTube for sure.
So do not, if you're normally listening to us on AM 1110 and you look for us on Monday, you will find Bloomberg there, and just explain the why. It's because KTEK, which is part of the Salem Broadcasting Network, which is part of a national, I don't know all the radio terminology. I don't know if it's like the syndication, but it's a big company. Salem Broadcast Network is a big company, and they sold a lot of their stations to the Catholic Broadcasting Network is apparently what it is. So our contract expires today. It'll still be owned by Salem next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I believe.
We had been announcing next Monday was going to be our last show, but they're going to have a 3-day transition period.
Yeah, you get Bloomberg next week.
You're going to get some Bloomberg.
And then I think next Thursday you get some Gregorian monk chants or some
It's
kind
going to be great. It's going to be great.
I always think of the Monty Python stuff.
Yeah, I got to be real careful because I got a lot of jokes.
you got a lot of Catholic jokes?
I won't.
Hey, well, I went to Catholic high school, so anyhow, we have a good time. So hey, one of the things. So we had base camp last night, and want to make sure that we don't forget to talk about that. We've been telling stories, and probably the number one question I get asked when I'm at an event or something like that, if I'm out at dinner and someone sees me and go, "Oh, you're the guy that does the radio show. I listen to you all the time," and I always say, "Hey, thanks for that." But it's like, man, how do you talk about real estate every day? And I'm like, well, today we talk about what we did yesterday, and then
we do real estate every day.
Because we get new stories every single day. So one of the things that I wanted to point out is we told a story recently that I pulled a gun on someone.
Correct.
And I never pointed at him or anything like that. But I also want to point out that I'm not saying that that's what we're teaching you need to do in order to do real estate. That is a very rare event.
Yeah, we were talking about this with our group last night.
Yeah, right.
And somebody kind of pointed out, well, hey, we all ran out and got a gun as soon as we heard that.
Yeah, right.
And it's like,
no.
Keep in mind if you're just thinking about getting involved in real estate, or you're looking to get involved in real estate and you've done a deal or so, you're just getting started, or you're going to get started. This isn't. We're not trying to imply this is a dangerous business.
No.
Keep in mind that we have a business. It's called Quality Property Solutions.
Yes.
We do some out-of-the-box stuff. We're not doing your normal real estate flipping, your normal real estate wholesaling, your normal real estate buy and hold that you would do in the market.
Correct.
We have a separate business that goes after some really, really crazy situations, and we tend to be involved in some things that you could work in this business for 40 years and never encounter what we encounter in a week or a month.
Correct.
It's just the truth. So please don't take that story as in, oh, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to be armed, or I can't go by my, that's not what it is. And
Correct.
We didn't mean to imply that in telling that story. So just be real clear. You're not going to duplicate this business that we're doing a certain way.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't make sense for you to do that. But
it does create some great stories.
It does create some great stories for sure. And it creates some great opportunities as well.
In fact, if I were getting started today knowing what I know now, I mean, what I would do is I'd join a group like our Right Path
Yeah.
group. I would join the Asset Buyers Club, and I would just start doing buy and hold. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish I had when I was growing my insurance agency. I mean, I was making really good money, and I would have just loved to have just been pouring the
Yes.
excess money into buy and hold rentals. If I had started buying back in 2007, 2000, actually before that, excuse me. No, that's about right. 2007, 2008, right in that time period, that would have been a great time to have been buying rental property. In fact, right now is a great time to buy.
It's always a great time. 10 years ago was always a great time.
Yeah.
And here's the secret. Hey, I'm going to listen, everybody, come get close to your radio. Today, at some point in time, will be 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
In fact, my dad called me this morning when I was on the way, and he goes, "Hey, he goes, where were you 30 years ago today?" And I was like, "Oh man, where were you 30 years ago today?"
Probably in class.
Yeah.
In 4th grade.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was 25, and so I'm thinking, okay, so Chloe wasn't born yet, so it has nothing to do with her. And let's see, what else? So at 25 years old, what was going on in my life? I was already married, and so let's see what. So I'm racking my brain, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm like, what was going on? I'm like, okay. So 30 years ago today, the Berlin Wall fell. So I was like, what? So I'm like, I was in Germany.
Oh, wow.
So I actually was in Germany on businmy dad.
You didn't have anything to do with the wall coming down.
Had nothing.
Okay, that would have been a cool story.
Coincidentally, though, we had gone. My dad, through a set of relationships, had secured the United States distribution rights for an industrial coating product that was actually manufactured in Germany.
Yeah.
And it had been like the industry standard epoxy coating for like 30 years.
Okay.
And there was nothing like it over here. And so to get the distribution rights and be able to sell it and all that kind of stuff, and it was absolutely amazing. So we were actually over there for a sales meeting. And to get to know their staff, and we took a tour of their manufacturing facility and meeting with a lot of their scientists and getting material safety data sheets, MSDS, and all the technical specs translated from German into English and all that kind of stuff. And we just coincidentally, had no idea when we booked the trip and all that it was going to be a historical week.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I can distinctly remember them pulling the TVs into the classes.
Yeah,
that was back before they had them up in every class. They had to wheel them in on those big metal carts, remember?
Yeah.
And, they would take 3 or 4 classes and shove them all in one class. And I can remember the teacher's name was Miss Cody.
Yeah.
And we had like 3 other classes all crammed in there. We were sitting on the floor and watching it on TV.
And you're probably just watching like, okay, so there's this big concrete wall, and they're taking pieces of what's the big deal? We got a fence in our backyard. We could take it down. It's not going to make
and it's amazing too because like my children. It's not like they focus on this a lot in school, and it's we learned about it when I was in school.
Cool,
now it's probably just a small little one day. Speak on it real quick, but how far we've come in 30 years,
of course.
as not just as an American society, but as a world, to where there are still lots of oppressive places and lots of different things going on, but we're so more connected to what's going on in the world now than we were then.
Yeah,
that seemed like so far away, and we were so far removed from that event, even as it was taking place. That now we're all tied in. The world's a lot smaller, if you will, and it's amazing to be a part of it.
Yeah. Absolutely, and then the only other time I've been to Germany is a year later. We went over for the October Fest season, and it was Volksfest is the one that we actually went to, and
a lot of beer and sausage.
Little beer and sausage, but that was the year of the reunification.
Oh wow!
And so a year later, East and West Germany reunified, and we were there for that as well. And I remember they reunified on a Wednesday, and one of my takeaways from being there is that I'm born and raised in the U.S. Grew up. There were 2 newspapers when I was a kid growing up: the Houston Chronicle and the Houston Post. Yeah. And then the Chronicle bought out the Post, but I can never think of a single event that would cause a newspaper to skip a day of printing, like on a national basis.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that that was a national holiday for the whole country. Everybody took the day off, spent it with family, all that kind of stuff. And there was not a newspaper printed on the day of reunification in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, which I thought, man, that's what a culturally different kind of thing.
You'd think that'd be all the newspapers.
Exactly. It'd be
even
front
the
page,
monthly,
right?
even the monthly guys would put out a special edition that day.
Absolutely. You would think special edition, read all about it, the headlines and all that kind of stuff. But so if anybody, hey buddy, hey, got a special deal for you. If you ever see a German newspaper from the day of reunification on eBay
fake.
or something like that, it's a fake. So
don't buy it.
So anyhow, little piece of trivia. So. All right, so today's our last day on the radio.
It is.
And so we just want to, what's amazing is what I feel like about the radio show is that, so many people are looking to be an expert when you get started doing anything in life.
Yeah.
And, you can't be an expert at swimming before you start swimming. You can't be an expert at flying a plane before you start flying a plane. You can't be an expert at anything before you actually start doing it. And I'm not going to say that I'm an expert radio person or anything like that. I mean, all I can say is that for the last 3 years, 5 days a week, do I know more about doing radio today than I did when I started?
Of course.
Absolutely. But I mean, am I an expert? No. But here's the thing. When you face a challenge in life and you want to try something, go for it. That's really the message. Just go for it.
Done is better than perfect.
Absolutely.
So many people will not take a chance. They will not even, you can complete so many things without completing them perfectly.
Yes.
And still succeed in life. I mean, even the most successful people every step they took along the way wasn't done in perfection.
No, absolutely.
But they still took those steps. We'll continue to talk about this in our last show on the airwaves when we get back.
On AM 1110.
I said airwaves.
Yeah, well, because I'm actually going to be on the airwaves tomorrow.
That's true.
Yeah, so I can't say it. So it's specifically on AM 1110 airwaves. But let's let the music go to the break.
All right, we'll be back.
Hello, real estate investors. Do you need a lender that moves fast at the speed of a jet to fund your investment?
Hey, good morning, Ben. Good morning,
Jet
Mr.
lending
Perry.
will help you
Hey, remember that
Good
guy that
morning,
we were thinking
Ashley.
was a
with
home
as
investors
little
guy?
cash
Yeah.
in your
Not the
pocket as
case.
possible.
Okay.
Jet lending
From-
also
from
sets
all my
up a
research,
repair
not the
escrow
case.
fund to help you with
Hearing
repair
Eddie
costs.
speak
Jet
reminded me
lending has
to
originated
tell you
over
that. I don't know that I
2,000
passed that
loans in
information
Texas, valued at over $250 million. Jet lending will help you evaluate your deal.
I was also thinking if instead of going at
cost of repairs,
2:30 down to that address.
Yeah, I didn't. I was wondering why we don't go between 10 and 12.
Let's do it.
Okay.
That's
You want to let Andy know?
Yeah, please.
Call 281-872-7800 or email us at info@jetlending.com. Oh, and don't forget about our famous Third Wednesday Super Investor Networking Meeting. Lots of fun, lots of great real estate talk. We'll see you there.
Time is money in a real estate deal. If your insurance company is slow or non-responsive, you could lose a deal like that. You need a quick
I love
turnaround
that
on
you can hear
quotes,
his finger
binders,
snapping that.
and the agency for that is Benchmark Insurance Group of Texas. The team at Benchmark understands the investor mindset. They know what you need and when you need it. It's there for you. Call Houston's leading real estate risk management experts. Benchmark Insurance Group of Texas. 281-569-4353. That's 281-569-4353. Or online at benchmarkbroker.com.
Are you looking
1
for an
minute.
investor-friendly general contractor for your investment property? Then call Fast Track Remodeling at 832-742-9992
Hey, good morning, Ben.
or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Fast Track Remodeling specializes in turnkey remodeling of single-family investment properties. Whether it's a flip rehab or a rental rehab, we manage every aspect of a rehab from start to finish with
that's
a
a
highly
lot more
efficient,
live than
standardized process.
This is.
Over the last 6 years,
Oh, you know what?
Fast Track
We may
has
just not
completed
be
over
seeing the delay,
700
huh?
projects,
Correct.
That's what it is.
which has helped us to create our
Yeah, because
three
we're not
keys
watching
to
on
success.
Instagram.
Right, yeah.
This here
Here's
is
a
the same
detailed
as
scope
this.
of work
These two
so
on the
that
left and
everything
right.
gets
Yeah.
done. Train and maintain quality crews so it gets done right,
Wonder what happens
and
if I
complete the
pop
work
up
in a
on
proper
Instagram
order
here.
so it gets done fast.
No more managing it yourself, no more doing the work yourself. Fast Track Remodeling really does manage it all.
So give us a call today at
10 seconds.
832-742-9992. Again, that's 832-742-9992, or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
This is Business 1110.
Mic's on.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Right Path Real Estate Radio. So today's our last show on AM 1110. We will be back next Monday on Facebook, Instagram, the places where most people watch us.
Yeah.
And but I also want to say that I will be on the air tomorrow on AM 950 and from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Awesome.
There's a guy named Mike Landry, and he's been doing a radio show in Houston for about 17 years. But he only does it on Saturdays, and it's called Home Sense.
Yeah.
And super nice guy. We had him on the air a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
I think wasn't last week. I think it was the week before.
Week before.
Yeah. And so if you want to listen, I'll be talking about real estate, and but that'll be from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I don't know if I'll be on the entire 2 hours. I know Fast Track's going to be on the show as well.
Oh, awesome.
So that'll be fun. And so that, again, between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., AM 950. So we won't be actually broadcasting from our studio.
You'll be broadcasting from the actual.
Yeah, from the 950 studio. So I got to figure out. I think it's over in Greenway Plaza.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, I think that's right. So anyhow.
And do you know who from Fast Track is going to be there? Or?
I think all three. I think my dad's going to be there. I think
Okay.
Jeff's going to be there. I think Elijah's going to be there.
Awesome.
So it'll be. I think that's the case. So for sure, I know that my dad's talking about like getting together and talking about some things like right after the show. I know my daughter will be with me also because I've got her this weekend. So anyhow. So here's what I can say about the whole reason why we started a radio show is really to help other people.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what the genesis of it was that we would start telling our story, and for those of y'all that don't know, when Jason and I got started in July of 2013, started a company called Houston House Buyers, and really just started with I put up $25,000, he put up $25,000, started with $50,000. And just had a budget to spend $5,000 a month in marketing. So we had a 10-month run.
Yeah.
And we knew that we could, sustain marketing. I didn't need, money to live off of, and he didn't either. We had enough, other sources of income or savings. So what it looked like is we started sending out 2,500 postcards a week. $1,250 worth of postcards went out every week.
Okay.
July, $5,000 went out. August, September. We got our first 3 deals in October of 2013. And we flipped 2 of those houses, did real well. Wholesaled 1 house, did real well. Rolled into 2 more in November, 2 more in December. So really our first 5 months, we did 7 deals.
Yeah.
And some net total, about $450,000 net profit. Not a bad first 5 months.
Not a bad first 5 months.
Now, some people would be, getting on Facebook, bragging, doing all that kind of stuff. We put that $450,000 right back into the business, hired our first employee in January of 2014. January 15th, they started. In fact, he's still with us today. That rolled in, and we increased our marketing budget first quarter of 2014. Went to $10,000 a month.
Nice.
Double the number of postcards going out. Instead of 2,500 postcards going out every week, 5,000 postcards going out every week. And then that continued on January, February, March, and then we went to $15,000 a month in marketing April, May, and June, and then $20,000 in July, August, and September. And so that's kind of the genesis. And so when we looked up, kind of put our head down, went to work, and when we looked up at the end of 2014, we had done 67 houses.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we went on to do more than 90 houses in 2015 and 120 houses in 2016 and continue to grow. And so people would see us and say, hey, man, I would love to know, because that's kind of 30,000-foot view, right?
Yeah.
But like, what are some of the details? I mean, what did you say when the phone rang, and what did you say when you went out and made your presentation, and how did you evaluate the rehab numbers, and all the nuts and bolts? Because God, I got to be an expert before I get started. Right?
Absolutely.
And
you had it all figured out before you even went on your first appointment.
No, and so we adjusted a lot of systems and processes along the way, but then a lot of people started asking us like, hey, can I take you to lunch? And I'd love to pick your brain. I mean, you pick any restaurant in town. I mean, you pick it. You should have been picking for me back then.
I should have been, because I would put the hurting on some folks for you.
Yeah, and they were like, because hey, would you pay $200 for a really nice lunch someplace? To pick my brain.
I mean, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, absolutely.
And what we started realizing is that man, you got only one lunch slot a day. Although today I've got a lunch appointment today at 12,
and then another lunch appointment at 1.
And the only way I can make that work is I'm meeting both people at the same restaurant, just like back to back. Like I'll set up shop in that restaurant,
have a soup or something at the first one, and, and then your entree at the next one.
Yeah, right. And so. But there's only so much time to go to lunch. And what we realize is people are asking the same questions over and over.
Yes.
Like, where do you find the super secret?
What's the super secret to motivated sellers?
How do you find those really motivated sellers?
Yeah, not the ones that everybody else can find. The extra ones.
Yeah.
It's been. I was telling Rick before the show. I think it was August or September of 2018 when. We were having a morning sales meeting.
Yeah.
We were working on some stuff, and we were meeting pretty early. And you said, "Hey, who wants to go on the radio show with me today?" And I was like, "I want to go."
Yeah, sure.
And that was my first experience,
Okay.
and that was more of a kind of an interview. Between you and I that day, and then a couple weeks later, I got the chance to go again.
Yeah.
Not knowing that I would fall into this role as time went by, but I can remember when it started becoming a regular thing. The inadequacies that you feel when you're first getting started and things like that, and just as the comfort level grew and just it's been a wonderful experience. And I remember the very first day I did it. When I left, I remember calling my wife, and I was on such a high. It was so amazing, and I was like, I'm gonna do that again. And so it's like I'm just sitting there waiting, like is he gonna invite anybody today, trying to beat anybody else in the room out before they got on. But man, it's just been awesome. I love being here. I love doing this with you. I love knowing that people are getting value from what we're doing. And it fulfills you. And you can go on about your day knowing that you start each day off giving something to somebody.
Yeah, that's really was the evolution of the radio show when it first got started. Is like, hey, rather than continuing to meet people over and over and over again, and instead of doing, what if because even go to networking events. I mean, it's been said that in Houston, Texas, you could go to a different networking event every night of the week,
in probably 3 or 4 daytime ones as well.
Yeah, right. And so we know that there's a lot of bad information being taught out there. So we just thought, hey, how do we rise above that and give real, honest, truthful information on a regular basis? And so that was the genesis of the Right Path Radio Show. And I remember when we first got started, I mean, it was wake up in the morning and commute all the way down over off of Savoy. And go up to I think it's the 12th floor. And I remember it was a big deal to get a bathroom key and all that. And you'd be running out of the studio to go to the restroom and things like that. And then then building our own studio in our office, which makes it really convenient because you're normally here in the office by 9 o'clock in the morning anyway, and you do the show, and then you're right here,
right to work.
Yeah, there's no commute time or anything like that. So it's worked out really, really well, and we're looking forward to continuing on with the message. That, hey, real estate is the average person's best way to build wealth and income. People don't get wealthy off their 401k. People don't typically get wealthy in a traditional 9-to-5 working as an employee someplace. If you really want to build wealth and income, you need to live on less than what you earn, and then you set aside that savings and you build. Now, here's the exciting thing. I mean, we meet people all the time that making way more money than they need to. And I know that that's not typical. That's the top 2 or 3%, right? That because some people are just living paycheck to paycheck, and that's one of the things I think is really tough about real estate. Because when going back to our story, I mean, we got off to a great start and things like that, but the questions that people ask us versus what they should be asking, because that's the thing is, if you're just learning something, imagine you sit down with the world's top pediatric neurosurgeon and go, hey, what's a typical day like in your life? And, how did you get to where you are? And, it's like you don't even know what you don't know, so you're really not asking the right questions for that person, right? And so... what I can tell you is one of the reasons why I feel like that we got off to such a great start is we're really good at marketing and sales, but that could have been in any business. I mean, if you're good at marketing and sales, you can do almost any single business, provided that you can reverse engineer the numbers.
And a lot of people fail to realize that you're not becoming good at real estate. You're becoming good at marketing and sales, which raises your value to the marketplace.
Correct.
Not the real estate marketplace,
Right.
but to the marketplace as a whole.
Absolutely.
And that's where, when you start to develop those skill sets and those values, that you really start to get rewarded. And you said something that kind of stuck out to me, and I want to point that out to the rest of the folks that are listening. He said the average person, and what he means by that is there's a certain level that some people have reached.
Sure.
That single-family real estate may not make sense. Warren Buffett,
of course.
he can't invest everything he's got in cash into single-family real estate.
Correct.
That's not logical. The logistics would be a nightmare.
Correct.
And then there's other people that haven't quite made it to a certain point in life,
Right.
and real estate doesn't make sense for them either.
Correct.
Although there's people out there selling courses to those folks for $500 or $1,000 as a ticket out of poverty. We've seen it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Lightning strikes, yes, that happens, but those are the stories they use to get you to buy.
Yeah, right.
And, Andy had a conversation that he was telling me about with somebody the other day, and the guy, was like, hey, all this sounds great, but what if you don't have any money?
Yeah.
And, when we say the average person, we're not, it's not necessarily an income,
Yeah.
but it's a lifestyle. You've got to live below your means. I don't care if you're making $40,000 a year or $100,000 a year.
I'd say this: real estate is a hard. I know when back in the early '80s, and when I was in high school, I remember that Carlton Sheets was big at the time, and there were Tommy Vu, and, you saw the late night infomercials, stuff like that. I mean, for years and years, there's been kind of this sales pitch that real estate is a no money down, you can get rich, go from rags to riches through real estate, and there are people that prey on that.
Yes.
And if you want, if you want me to tell you that's doable for the average guy, you're asking me to lie to you.
Yeah, because it's not.
And I do not want to lie to you. What I want to tell you is, Tommy Vu ended up in jail. Carlton Sheets methods may have worked back then, but there's new lending rules since then. There's all kinds of issues. It can't be. Can you do a deal with no money down? Maybe one.
You can.
But it is so. Is that scalable? Could you do 10 in a year? No.
Or you're going to wait 5 years before you finally find one and go broke doing it.
Yeah, right.
And here's the problem is people come in, they say, oh, well, if you don't have the money, but you've got the hustle.
Yeah, no.
You can do it that way. You didn't have the hustle life before you decided to start doing real estate.
Well, the trouble is you could have the hustle, but you don't have the sales and marketing skill to put the hustle is energy, right?
Yes.
And so that has to be just hustling, without direction is an unfocused hustle is worthless, right?
Yes.
It's just, to me, wasted
You'd be better
energy.
off putting that energy into a job.
Yeah, of course.
Learning to live below your means.
Get a second job, right?
Get a second, get a third.
Yeah, right.
I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody.
Correct.
There's a way for you to get out of where you are.
Right.
But real estate is not the starting point.
Real estate, what we were really doing is showing that real estate, if you had $200,000, you could triple that or double it and triple it in 3 to 5 years.
Yes.
And which turned 200 into 600. I mean,
Let's do it.
Crazy.
Hey, music says we're coming up on a break. We will be right back. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around on our last show on 11:10 a.m. Hey, good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Steve.
Hello, real estate
Santana right
investors. Do you need a lender that moves fast at the speed of a jet to fund your
I've definitely heard
investment
that chord
properties?
before.
Jet Lending will help you purchase property
Rick, isn't that
quickly
Santana?
with as little cash out of pocket as possible. Jet Lending also sets up a repair escrow
Yeah,
fund
Black
to
Magic
help you
Woman.
with
Yeah.
repair costs. Jet Lending has originated over 2,000 loans in Texas.
It's off of the album
valued at over
Abraxas.
Oh, yeah?
$250 million.
I hear he's
Jet Lending
pretty
will
good
help
on
you
a
evaluate
guitar.
your deals for free and give you feedback on value, cost of
Do you
repair,
think?
and potential loan amount. Jet Lending is your
Even-
fast
even
and
at
friendly
75.
partner source
Yeah, right.
for first-time investors and seasoned professionals. Call 281-872.
Think he was an expert when he first picked up a guitar?
He's on a Rolling Stones tune, Can't You Hear Me Knocking?
Oh, yeah?
Famous
Nice.
Third Wednesday Super Investor Networking Meeting.
Yeah, really good.
Lots of fun, lots of great real estate talk. We'll see you there.
Are you looking for an investor-friendly general contractor for your investment property? Then call Fast Track Remodeling at 832-742-9992 or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Fast Track Remodeling specializes in turnkey remodeling of single-family investment properties.
What?
Whether it's a flip rehab or a
Well,
rental
he's
rehab,
playing
we manage
tonight,
every aspect of
tomorrow,
a rehab from start
and
to finish
Sunday
with a highly
in Vegas.
efficient,
Let's go.
standardized process.
Over the last 6 years, Fast Track has completed over 700 projects, which has helped us to create our 3 keys to success. Use a detailed scope of work so that everything gets done, train and maintain quality crews so it gets done right, and complete the work in a proper order so it gets done fast.
No more managing it yourself, no more doing the work yourself. Fast Track Remodeling really does manage it all.
So give us a call today at 832
tonight's playing House of Blues.
742-9992.
Tonight, tomorrow, and
Again,
Sunday,
that's
House of Blues in Vegas.
832-742-9992, or reach us on the web at
Oh,
fasttrackremodeling.com.
wow. Okay, well, that's
1
apparently
minute.
like where he's...
Oh, he's
Time
doing
is money in
a
real
residency.
estate.
Yeah,
where they
right.
call it.
If
Yeah.
your insurance company is slow or
Because
non-responsive,
he's there, then he leaves to
you
go
could lose a
do
deal
San
like
Francisco
that.
on the
You need a quick
12th, and
turnaround
then he
on
comes
quotes
back in
or binders.
January.
The agency for that is Benchmark
22nd,
Insurance Group
24th,
of Texas.
25th,
The
26th,
team at
28th,
Benchmark understands
29th,
the investor
House of
mindset.
Blues, Vegas.
They know what you need and when you need it. We're here for you. Are you a rehabber?
I'm sorry, who's
wholesaler,
this?
buy and
Santana.
hold or flipper? Bundling your properties on a single
Oh,
policy will
yeah.
okay.
save
He's,
time and
he's
money.
playing Vegas a
Benchmark
bunch.
has been in
He's
business
playing
for
tonight,
over 10
tomorrow night,
years,
and Sunday
and we
night in
insure over
Vegas at
30,000
House of
properties.
Blues.
Contact
And then he
Benchmark
goes and
about our
does November
exclusive
12th
investor
in San
package.
Francisco.
Call
Then he
us
goes back
and
in
let us show you
January.
what we can
Looks
do
like he
for
doesn't
you.
have anything else till
281-569-4353.
January 22nd. He goes back to House of Blues.
That's 281
until like March when he goes to Italy and
or online
Poland.
at benchmarkbroker.com.
And then
That's
Okay, 10 seconds.
All right.
That's 281-569-4353
Yeah, internet amazing.
or online at benchmarkbroker.com.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Jacob.
This is Business 1110.
Mic's on.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back on our last day on KTEK AM 1110.
Biz Radio.
Biz Radio AM 1110. So today is our last day on Biz Radio AM 1110. It is not the last day for the Right Path Real Estate show because we will continue on. So for all the people that are following us on the Book of Faces,
Nikki's just joined in.
yeah, you will continue.
What a
I know,
great
right?
story from the show.
Absolutely, yeah. Just
Brought us Nikki.
right. We wouldn't have never met Nikki because for those of y'all that listen on the Book of Faces, y'all actually can hear the interaction with Rick, our producer, and at one time Nikki was our producer.
Yes.
On the Right Path Real Estate Radio Show, and there was a real connection there. And as we were growing QPS Quality
Yeah.
Property Solutions, she left the radio station as the producer Monday through Friday of our show and others as well.
Yeah, I think she still does a little
she does
couple
a Saturday
things there.
show,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and then she's full time with us. So you know, it's all about relationships. It's
Yes.
always about meeting people. It's always looking for the right fit. You know, networking, all of that kind of stuff. Because let's face it, the universe has all the resources you need. And oftentimes, what I find is that when people say, "I don't have the money to get started in real estate," can you get started with no money? Yes, but not with that mindset.
Yeah.
And it's not the mindset of, I'm going to hustle my way there. The mindset is that you have to find someone with the resources.
Well, and here's
And that's called resourcefulness.
the issue that I typically find with that is the
Yeah.
person, if they have that mindset,
Yeah, right.
they've already earned some money.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
They kind of go hand in hand.
Yes.
Now, does that mean that you can start to develop that mindset? Now you can.
Yeah, of
You
course.
can start to develop a mindset of resourcefulness.
Yeah, of course.
As you're beginning to get into real estate.
Yes.
You can do that.
Yes.
It can be developed.
Yes.
But if you think you're bringing the mindset with you
Yes.
that you've had before that has left you with no money,
Yeah.
it's probably not the right mindset.
Probably not. Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of those questions that I feel like that when people are asking questions like, hey, how do I get started? How did you get started? What did you do? And I also think that that's kind of interesting because one of the real nuances of like, because I ask people from time to time, hey, I see what you've accomplished. How'd you get started? Right? You probably remember a couple months ago, went up with one of our guys that works with us and went up to Dallas to a buddy of his from high school.
Yep.
Has done extremely well.
Extremely well.
Has done super well. So again, I'm picking his brain. Tell me your story. How'd you get started? All that kind of stuff, right? And you know what I've discovered a better question is. It's good to know historically, just because I want to get to know you. I want to relate to you. I'd like to know what your story. How did you get from birth to where you are today? I don't need a minute by minute explanation, but give me the high points. What highs and lows, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't need to know about your average days, but you tell me a typical day, and we'll just say that's times a couple hundred, and then but tell me the peaks and the valleys, right? But even better is like, hey, not just how did you get to where you are, what was your journey, but if you were starting now, knowing what you know now, how would you get started?
Yeah.
You know,
that's a totally different question. It's a good question that most people don't even know to ask.
Yeah, because what I'll tell you is that what I know now compared to what I knew in 2013, what I know now compared to what I knew in 2010, completely different place,
Absolutely.
right? So if I were starting with my knowledge now, because that's one of the things. I mean, so a lot of people go, man, if only I could turn back time, right? I mean, somebody made that comment to me yesterday, like, man, I wish I could turn back time. And I'm like, I think that's a Cher song, right? If I could turn back time. Yeah,
correct.
So anyhow, and then I pulled it up on YouTube and made sure that it was a
okay.
and it
Double
is.
checking yourself.
Yeah, and so here's the question: is there's many people that would like to turn back time, but it's like. My daughter, I'm taking her to school this morning. She's 14, and I remember what it was like being driven to school at 14 years old. And then, because I was, I would typically ride to my dad on the way to work was my school, and so I'd ride in the car with my dad, and he'd drop me off. And many times my mom brought me as well, but oftentimes it was my dad. And I would I want to go back to 14? Probably not. To take all the things that I went through at 14. If I had to live through all those things the exact same way, however. Would I want to go back if I could take what I know now back to then?
Totally different story.
Totally different story, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the key, and I think that's a much better question if you're ever going to try and pick somebody's brain is, hey, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently? And what I can tell you is it's exactly what we teach in our Asset Buyers Club. Yeah. Because if you understand the concept of leverage in real estate, and lately I've been on this like Netflix kick. I'm reading some books that I'm really like, and I've not finished them. Otherwise, I'd be recommending them.
Yeah, Netflix has a wealth of documentaries.
Oh my God, that's where I've been spending some time. Yeah, and one of those, honestly, there's a documentary. I'm trying to remember which one, what it's called, but it's really talking about. A whole lot of real estate stuff and generational wealth building. Okay. And it was really looking at a perspective of racial inequality, like what's going on, and wealth building with the African American community versus the white community. And one of the reasons why Caucasians have been able to build wealth generationally is buying the single family house that your family lives in. Yes. Invariably there's a story that, my parents bought a house, for $25,000, and here it is 40 years later, it's worth $650,000. Yeah. And when you look at that is one of the biggest wealth creators generationally. That imagine that if your family didn't buy that house or bought in a different neighborhood that didn't appreciate like that, but imagine if you could add leverage instead of having one house that goes from $25,000 to $650,000. Some people had the foresight. We've met people that by no means are they wealthy. Yes. Right. They've never really made significant income in their entire life.
Took every single extra penny they had and put it into property.
Not just their money, but their time and the energy, which is not the way we would teach it. If they were to follow what we taught or what we do teach, they wouldn't. Right now, they have 50 paid-for houses.
Yeah, and it's been about 8 or 9 months since we last talked to them.
Correct.
So they could have 51 or 52.
Could be. Know. So 50 paid-for houses, all bringing in about $1,500 a month in rent or more. And so they're paying the taxes and they pay insurance, but they do all the work themselves. They manage the house themselves. There's no debt.
They were self-insuring as well.
Correct.
So
that's right. They don't even have insurance.
They don't have insurance. They were self-insuring.
So they pay the taxes. That's their only expense.
And
because they do their own repairs. Yep, why would they insure? Because they know that they could rebuild it. I mean, I'm picturing this woman. We've told the story, but it bears repeating that her and her husband have done their own roofs.
Yes.
And there's sometimes people go, yeah, we've done our own roofs, and what you find out is, they got up there and they took one shingle off and they replaced the shingle, and now they call themselves roofers, right? But no. They were giving nuances to what they discovered in the process. Like they were talking about, hey, one of the things that we learned is that when you're taking off the old roof, they made a mistake and they just put all the stuff down on the ground.
Yes.
Which means it slides off the roof pretty easily onto the ground, right? Gravity just takes over. You push it off the edge of the roof, and guess what? It ends up on the ground. But then they realized they had to come down off because they can't leave it on the ground.
No, you got to pick it up and put it on the trailer now.
Because you want to haul it off. It's trash, right? Now you got to bend over, pick it up, and put it on the trailer. And they thought, if we would have just, instead of being inexperienced, right?
Inexperienced.
So, and you only have to learn that one time. So then they said, hey, what we should have done is back the trailer right up against the house, push it off the roof, let gravity put it in the trailer. And then you skip the step of picking it up and putting it in the trailer.
Now we're rolling.
But wait, there's still more.
Wait, there's more.
She learned another thing, because when they went to the dump and had a trailer full of debris, if you can either shovel it off, you can try and push it off. Now sometimes there's those dump trailers. They didn't have one of those.
Of course not.
Because that's extra money. They don't think that way. So after doing it one time the wrong way, what they realized, because they're thinkers, they're problem solvers, and I love that about them. And they realized that, hey, you know what could slide on that bottom deck board? A chain would. So if we could lay all that debris on top of a couple of chains, then we just grab the chains and pull it.
Yeah, you lay 3 or 4 chains across the bed of that trailer. Now you just pull them off.
And when they go explaining all that, you go, you know what? Y'all
have done it.
Y'all have not done just one roof. Y'all didn't just do a shingle. Y'all have done multiple roofs because you built a system and a process.
Yes, very efficiently.
And you were tweaking that system and process to make it even better and better. But the journey of the story is that here they are in their mid to late 70s, right? And they don't have to work, but they still do.
They still do.
But they've been able, with not a whole lot of extra money and raising a family and all that. She had been a homemaker. She never really worked outside the home. So and it wasn't like he was an engineer or had made big money. He wasn't at the top of the pay grade.
He was a worker for sure.
He was a worker, but they had accumulated 50 paid-for houses.
Yes, over a 50-year period.
Over about 50 years, right?
Yep.
Just imagine having one house a year. And that's true generational wealth that will pass on and will affect them and their children, probably their grandchildren also.
For sure.
Now, what we would have said is, hey, look, what we can teach you is 50 houses paid for is good. 250 houses leveraged is even better, right? Because you can leverage 5 to 1, and so you can have the same amount of equity paid for,
but 5 times the growth,
and your income would go
2
up.
minutes.
Your wealth building would go up. I mean, and you get equity when you pay cash for a house. Then you really make money 3 different ways. And when you leverage a house, you make money a fourth and a fifth way.
Correct.
Because you don't get equity pay down.
You don't when you buy cash.
You lose it completely. And what I'll say is the difference between paying cash, if you understand appreciation versus leverage appreciation. Yeah, Jacob, the chain method. That's exactly right. When you understand the difference between appreciation versus leveraged appreciation, I mean, that is night and day difference. When you're talking about, imagine if you could get 7% on $150,000. I mean, that's good. I mean, that 7% on $150,000 is about $10,500.
Correct.
But imagine, if I just simply said, hey, would you rather make 7% or 35%?
Hold on, let me think about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over some numbers in my head.
You want to math it?
Calculator
You want to math it? Because what I can tell you is,
carry the one.
I'm
going to go 35.
35%. And what if I'm wrong? What if I'm overly aggressive? What if it's not appreciating 7%?
What if you're wrong by 50%?
Yeah. Well, then here's what would happen is then you'd be wrong on the non-leveraged also, because if it's going up 7% on that one house, then and I'm wrong, then it's either
that's a very good point.
It's either 3.5%, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or 5 times 3.5 is 17.5.
17.5.
So would you rather have 3.5 or 17.5?
Yeah, either way.
Either way. I can't 10x
tricky.
it, but I can 5x it.
That's tricky.
If
Hey,
you
music
want to
says we're coming
5x
up on a break, guys. We'll be right back for our final segment on 11:10 a.m. That was good.
Time is money in a real estate deal. If your insurance company is slow or non-responsive, you could lose a deal like that. You
5
need a
times
quick
is still
turnaround
5
on
times,
quotes,
right?
reminders.
If
The
it's
agency
if I'm
for
off,
that is
instead of it
Benchmark
being 7,
Insurance
it's
Protect.
1.
The team
It's
at
either
Benchmark
1 or
understands
5.
the
If it's
investor
2, it's
mindset.
2 or 10.
They know what you need
That's
and
3 or
when you need it.
15.
I love
We're
it.
here for you.
It's 5 or
If you're a
25.
Pokes a hole in that argument.
Yeah.
Hold a flipper, bundling your properties on a
Well, what if you're
policy
wrong?
will
Well,
help
then you
save
are
time
too.
money.
Right.
And I'm
Benchmark has
still
been in
5
business
times
for over
better.
10 years, and we insure over 30,000
beautiful.
properties. Contact Benchmark about our exclusive investor package. Call us and let us show you what we can do for you at 281-569-4353. That's 281-569-4353. Or online at benchmarkbroker.com. That's benchmarkbroker.
Jacob, tell a quick story. So when I was graduating high school, going on to college,
or online at
my
benchmarkbroker.com.
folks had a house in Wimberley, and it was out in the country, and there was no
Hello,
trash
real estate
service.
investors. Do you need a
So
lender that moves
anybody that
fast
lives
at the
out
speed
there,
of a
they're
jet to
responsible
fund
for
your
bringing their own
investment
trash to the dump.
Jet lending will help you purchase properties
And my dad
quickly
had bought
with as little
an old.
cash out of
My dad's
pocket as
almost
possible.
always had an
Jet
old
lending
pickup
also
truck.
sets up a repair escrow
Typically,
fund to help you with repair
a
costs.
light blue pickup
Jet
truck.
lending has
So we
originated
can
over
always call it old
2,000
blue.
loans
Right
in
now,
Texas,
their
valued at
extra
over
truck at Fast Track
$250
is
million.
a red pickup
Jet
truck.
lending will
Okay.
let you
All
evaluate
red?
They
your
got a
deals
they got
for
a red
free
Chevy,
and
but my
give
dad's
you
almost
feedback
always had
on
an old blue
value,
pickup truck.
Cost of repairs. And
Well, this
potential
particular
loan amount.
blue
Jet lending is your
pickup
fast
truck,
and friendly hard
what he
money
did is
source
he
for
took it
first-time
to a
investors
fabricating
and
shop
seasoned professionals.
and had them
Call
put a
281
hydraulic lift on the bed.
7800 or
Nice.
email us
Yeah.
at info
And so this
at jetlending.com.
truck was probably not worth,
Oh, and
I don't
don't
know,
forget
25,
about
maybe
our
$4,000,
famous
$2,500 to
Super
$4,000,
Investor
but
networking meeting.
probably had a
Lots of fun, lots of
$1,500
great real estate talk.
dollar
We'll see you
lift
there.
kit on it. Not to lift the wheels, make it all, sly and
1 minute.
fly and all
Looking for
that,
an
but
investor-friendly
it was really
general
pretty
contractor
cool.
for your
You'd
investment property?
fill up the back
Then
of the
call
bed with all the
Fast Track
trash
Remodeling
for the
at
2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever,
Okay.
all the trash bags,
reach
and
us
you
on the
go down to
web
the
at
dump and you pay your
fasttrackremodeling.com.
$10 dump fee.
Fast Track
You just
Remodeling
go up there and hit a button.
specializes in
And you
turnkey
pull up
remodeling of
when everybody
single-family
else is in the
investment
back of their
properties.
pickup truck,
Whether it's a flip
manually,
rehab or a rental
standing in
rehab,
the bed,
manage
awesome.
every
and all we
aspect of
do
a rehab
is,
from start to
back
finish
up
with
to
a
the
highly
to the
efficient,
pile and
standardized
lower
process.
the
Over the
tailgate.
last
As everybody
6
else
years,
watches
Yeah.
in
Fast
envy.
Track has
Yeah,
completed
right.
over
Beautiful.
700
You hit the
projects,
switch and
which has helped us to create our 3 keys
and it
to
just lifts
success.
right up, and then you
Use a
just pull
detailed
forward a
scope of
little
work
bit,
so
all of it
that
dumps out
everything
the
gets
back,
done.
and
Train and maintain quality crews so it
And
gets
then-
done right.
yeah, a mini-
and complete the
yeah,
work in
mini
a proper
dump
order
truck.
so it gets done
That's
fast.
awesome.
yeah.
No more managing it yourself. No more doing the work yourself.
Yeah, now,
Fast Track
the
Remodeling
trailers that
really does
do
manage
that.
it all.
Yeah.
Those
So
are-
give us a call
10
today
seconds.
at 832-742-9992. Again, that's 832-742-9992, or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Here's the last cowbell.
The
This
last
is
cowbell.
1110.
You gotta have a.
Mic's on.
Yeah, you gotta have the last cowbell. All right, so our last show on AM 1110. Good morning. How do I find a good property manager and contractor for my area? I live near San Antonio. Thank you. That's a great question. So in the last couple of minutes, here's what I would do. I would find your local real estate investor group in San Antonio. And or here's what I would do is I would look for investor-friendly real estate agents. Anytime that I go into a new market, what I typically want to do is look for those two things. I want to get on Meetup,
Yes.
for example, and I'm going to look for a real estate investing group, and I want to network with them. Because within that network, here's one of the things that I will say is that for the most part across the country, and I have had the pleasure to speak, from LA and New Jersey and Florida and obviously Dallas and Seattle and places all over the country. And you can't be an expert in every single market,
No.
but the local people are.
Yes.
And so I think that's one of the things that I provide, something special here is that I have, a special local knowledge in the Houston marketplace. And but if I were going to go and start investing in San Antonio, what I would do is first plug into the local. I'd probably go to 3 or 4 different, and I'd want to find my tribe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And because every group has a personality, and I've been around enough shysters where I can smell it now. So I would look for the people that are actually doing it, not just talking about doing it. I'd want to know what entity name do you do deals in, and I'd want to
do your research.
and I'd want to look that up in the county clerk's office to see that they've actually done deals in the last last 90 days, something like that, and that they have properties in their name, that kind of stuff, and then I'd find out what contractors they use. I mean, right here in Houston, obviously I recommend Property Care and Fast Track. I also know that one of the others that I think I know in Houston, it's a really good organization, and that's Renters Warehouse. And
they're in San Antonio.
They are, but it's a different franchise. So that's a franchise out of Florida. Actually, the owner's in Florida. I think they're actually based out of Minnesota, but they have a franchise system. But each franchisee can run it a little bit different. But I do believe that there's a Renters Warehouse franchise in the San Antonio market. So I'd probably check that out.
And we've got a couple students in San Antonio as well. So if you'll shoot me an email to support@rightpathrealestate.com with that question, I think they're out of town through the beginning of next week, so I may not be able to get you an answer right away, but I will ask them some questions and maybe get you some contacts for like contractors and stuff.
All right, so next Monday, be looking for us on the Book of Faces and also on the Instagram and all those other online portals. But
if you're doing the daily YouTube or podcast, you'll still get it there as well.
Yeah, but we are not on the AM 1110. After today. So today is our last day. Our contract ends. So it's been a good run. We started, in February 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would have been 4 years next February. So we want to thank all the people that have listened on KTEK AM 1110.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. And if you didn't hear us announce this before, and you haven't tuned in a while, this is a shock to you, and you want to stay in touch, reach out to me at support@rightpathrealestate.com. I will get you any information you need on where to find us and how to find us.
And we also have one other way that we communicate a lot with our listeners, and that is through our texting system.
Yes.
And we have a short code, and it is 95577. I'm going to go ahead and put that up on the Book of Faces right now. If you will text to the phone number 95577. I know it's only 5 digits. It's called a short code. So 95577 and text the word listen in the message. And then we will stay in contact with you there and let you know when every morning at 9 a.m., a text goes out from that system from the phone number 95577 and lets you know that we're about ready to go live. So next Monday, you'll get a reminder and it'll just say, we're not on AM 1110, and so tune in on Facebook, which is fb.com/Right Path Real Estate. Also, if you'll like our Right Path Real Estate page, then you'll get a reminder on Facebook about that when we're live. And then if you'll do the same thing on Instagram, it does the same thing.
Whatever platform you prefer.
Correct. So we're actually simulcasting on both of those. So just want to say, hey, Rick, thanks a lot so much. You've been a great producer for us. And it's been a lot of fun working with you, and sad to have to say goodbye over the air and all that. And for the most part, AM 1110 has been outstanding. I mean, it's been a good solid B. I can't give it a B plus. Not a B minus. It's a good solid
30
B.
seconds.
And we want to say thanks to all the people that have been listening to us on AM 1110. But it is not the end of the show. It is only the end of our relationship with KTEK. Yep. So we will be right back here with Facebook, Instagram, and which I also know ends up on SoundCloud and iTunes and TuneIn and all that. So
we'll continue to pour into you guys, do what we do here. Thanks everybody for your continued support. We'll be back Monday at 9 a.m. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your Friday. Good golf, good tennis, whatever makes you happy.
You've been listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. Find Tom at rightpathrealestate.com. You can put the fear behind you and listen every day from 9 to 10 a.m. on Business 1110 KTEK.